Welcome back to another episode of King and Sharif. I am King.
And I am Sharif.
All right, so tonight we're talking about why women can't get along. What talk to me about why? I mean, we can talk about this shit all night.
Yeah.
All night.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I guess kind of like the last episode, how we was just talking about how we grew up. And like when I grew up, I just saw a lot more unity in the women. With women, like now it's just like everybody's like nitpicking and fighting over everything. Like it's a territorial situation. And I just wanted to like get some insight. Maybe they can help me in.
So here's the thing.
That's not in a book or something.
Women fighting with other women.
Right.
It takes a certain type of woman to fight with another woman. And I say that because if you're not secure within yourself and who you are, if you're not healed and whole and all that stuff, then yeah, you're gonna have a problem with another woman.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of women don't get along with each other because there is a myriad of reasons why, but I think it goes back to jealousy and insecurity. Like that's the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I appreciate the beauty of another woman. It's like the young lady sitting over there. She's absolutely beautiful. And I don't have a problem telling her, hey girl, you look good. You thank you, boo. You know what I'm saying? But that's because within myself, I'm secure about who I am and what I am. And there's nothing that somebody else has that I want. Because I know that whatever I want, I'm going to get it if I put in the work. And then I also think that a lot of women don't get along because of PTSD. Like, it took me a long time to get to where I am simply because when I was in high school, I got bullied. I got bullied like hell. And women made fun of how I looked, them big glasses I had a flat booty, like I had a jerry curl, I had the whole nine, and right. I got bullied. So I ended up migrating to hanging with the guys because they don't care about stuff like that. All they cared about was how far I jumped in the triple jump and how fast I ran the 100-yard dash and volleyball and just different things. But then even with that, because I hung out with more guys in high school, they started being jealous of that. And then I had a reputation of being a hoe.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was a double-edged sword, but and I don't want to say now that I get along with men better than I do with women now, because I don't. I'm a girl's girl. I wasn't always, because I didn't like women because of how they acted. And still, even at this big grown age of 52, there are still women that are walking around that claim that they don't particularly care for me, but you can't give me a good reason why. Other than she thinks she all that. Well, I absolutely do think that I'm all that.
That's
because
what I
am.
Understand, though.
I am.
That's what I don't understand. Like, I could be around like a woman, you know what I mean? I'm like my sister or something like that. I could be around her and just all day they just talking trash about another woman, and I just don't understand that.
Yeah.
And even going back to like the presidency. Like, oh, Kamala, she's not white. I mean, she's not black. She's white. Or, you know what I mean? Or she thinks she's so smart. Or she thinks she's this or thinks she's that. I'm like, man, this lady running for president. Like, if that's like black, that should be black pride. Like, why is it like, oh,
so.
You know what I mean? And I really felt like I feel like if she had the support of the black women, I don't know if she could have won because it was kind of a big loss, but I think it could have been a lot closer.
So let's unpack that without getting too political. I do believe, for the most part, I do believe in the saying that, you know, on social media of the 92%. I do believe that 92% of black women did vote for her. I don't think the election was fair. So I take exception to her not being elected by us because I feel like she was. But again, that's something that we'd have to unpack in a different episode. But I don't think that she
but
lost.
Then you got to go through the people that didn't vote, the women that didn't vote.
8%?
No, I mean I'm saying she got 92%. If she got 92% of the women that voted,
Black women, yep.
black women that voted. What about the black women that didn't vote?
Okay, so that 8% could be those that don't like other women, whether or not it was a black woman or a white woman. It's probably
no. When they do the percents, those are the people that voted. So she got 92% of them, and then the other 8% of black people that voted didn't vote for her. Well, that's not explaining the people that just didn't go.
Okay, well let's get to that. But the 8% that didn't vote for her,
right,
might have been Trump supporters.
Right. Now that's about better than the average.
Right.
Yeah.
They might be the type of woman that's not going to vote for a woman anyway. They didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what I was about to say. Hillary had the same problem.
Yeah.
She was up all these points because of white women, black women. And then when it came to find out, she really didn't have the white women votes that she thought she had.
She didn't.
So, I mean, this is not even a race thing. Why do women hate on women? Like, y'all were in the struggle together. Y'all marched together for rights, even during the civil rights movement. Mm-hmm. Y'all had your own movement. Mm-hmm. Like, y'all should be, like, real tight, like, us against everybody else. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are they just so, like, why is everybody so upset? And is it the men? Is it like...
I don't even think that it was the men in this case, because I really feel like even some white men that wouldn't have necessarily voted Democratic, voted Democratic because they didn't want what we currently have in the White House. Right. So I don't know. But as far as my experience with women not getting along and not liking each other, it goes back to jealousy or the perception that they have of that other woman without giving her a chance to. Without even giving them a chance. That's unfortunate, but that's just the society that we live in.
So what do you think about this? So like, do you think this even further hurts the women versus women situation when you have like TV shows like Baddies?
Absolutely.
And excuse me. I need some water. I started laughing.
You need some water?
I started. That's promo.
Drink
I'm gonna die before I drink a promo bottle. Can't mess with the promo.
Okay, my bad.
But like South Central Baddies and all these different baddies. Like when they first came on, like the Bad Girls Club, I didn't even pay no attention to it. I just thought it was entertainment. Like back, 15, 20 years ago when Bad Girls Club came on, which the sister Natalie was a part of. And then now that fast forward 15, 20 years later, they got all of these different baddies, Midwest baddies, all this stuff. And all it's about is the man that owns the company is Zeus. All this, and then the girl that did the Bad Girls Club, which went through all of this hate and all this kind of stuff. You would think that she wouldn't do this to other females for money, but she basically is like...
Why would you think she wouldn't do that? I mean, people want to see that.
Because she went through, because I follow her story, and she went through so much trauma coming out of the Bad Girls Club. Like... the way people were like the way social media was acting towards her, the way she was an actress, the way she couldn't get jobs because she did that show, the way women, casting agents, a lot of people in Hollywood, the casting agents are women. How women look down on her as casting agents.
But you do know that money is the root of evil, right?
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, I do know that. But she's putting the same girls through that same hell.
She don't care.
And she just taking these same girls that was just like her, like were in bad condition, not making any money, nothing, and say, hey, you want to make 25 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, you want to change your life, you got to fight this woman 4 or 5 times,
I'm a water for you right there.
Oh, yeah, you got to fight, you got to fight 4 women this season. You know what I'm saying?
So,
because you could tell it's all staged.
Yeah, right. I've only sat through one episode of Baddies, and that was because this gonna make you laugh, but your boy watched Baddies.
Oh yeah, I mean I had watched it a couple times.
So we were all at the house, and that was the Sunday when everybody was there except for Taryn. That was their thing. They would watch Baddies at my house. So I sat through one episode, and I'm just like, yeah, this is wasting the 2 good brain cells I got left. I was like, yeah. So I went in my room and read a book. But I say all that to say that like I used to be a Real Housewives of Atlanta. I used to be a junkie, right?
And that's women against women.
And that's women against women.
Right.
And then it got to a point where it was just like, I just can't watch this no more because it was basically just black women tearing each other down and being judgmental because, you know, you driving a Range Rover, you're not driving a Bentley, and you got a white refrigerator. Who does that? You know,
Right.
and I didn't want that in my spirit.
Yeah, that was the Nene King. And she
Nene
walked in
and
the
Portia.
house.
Yeah, she was like,
said,
Portia,
girl, you got a white refrigerator?
I didn't have a white refrigerator at that point.
I don't think that's women against women. I think that's just an appliance against appliance.
But Nene's statement was elitist. Like, don't do that.
Yeah, but you know, with Real Housewives of Atlanta, it's still baddies isn't showing you nothing. Even with the Real House of Atlanta, even though they're pitched against each other, it also shows a bunch of successful black women.
It does.
You know what I mean? They show Bentleys, they show nice houses, they show these women with a lot of income. But
that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I probably only seen, you know what I mean? I don't watch it, but, you know, the little clips and stuff. But, you know what I mean? I probably only seen, you know, they highlight these girls' restaurants, funeral homes, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I probably only seen maybe one episode when Portia hit Kenya that they actually fought over all 18 seasons or whatever. I think they've been in business about 18 years. Mm-hmm. But this baddie stuff is just made, and then this young kids watch it because it come on YouTube, it come on everything. It's on their cell phone. Yeah. Like, oh, you know, I mean, I hear like my stepkids about, Tashiki gonna fight big something. You know what I mean? They gonna fight this week. You know what I mean? Like they anticipating the fight and everything, and it's just like. Okay, then they go to school, and then this all stuff plays out at school, you know what I mean? Plays out in the community, plays out this place. And I think the more and more you see anger against somebody in your head, you know what I mean, the more and more you're not going to like that person. Like, I grew up not liking white people just because I kept seeing visuals of the civil rights movement and this right here and, you know, roots and stuff like that. Yeah. So when I grew up, when I got older, I didn't have a liking for a white person.
Well, and so
you can do that.
End, to that end, I think there's a certain amount of trauma that Black Americans are going to have toward everybody that's
right. But it's the same stuff with women, though.
No, it is.
Yeah, it's the same stuff with women. Like, if you see enough of these people fighting against each other, that's why Spike Lee said we should stop all slave movies. Let's not make another slave movie. Because we're just living in a different world now.
Absolutely, but slave movies sell.
Yeah, they sell, and we just don't need to program in our mind no more that, hey, when we walk out there, even though it's true, you know what I mean, they're still sicking dogs on us. Police are still killing black folks. Just saw one the other day. You know what I mean? I sent it to the group like, hey, they still out here shooting us. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's going to happen and stuff like that. But, you know what I mean? It doesn't need to be programmed in our kids' heads that this is what the world is now, because it's not what it is. But when
What's not what it is?
I mean,
slavery.
It happens.
I was about to say, no, we still getting.
It's a form of slavery. It's a form of police brutality, but it's not every day. Like, we not drinking out the the black water fountains, and we not.
Well, not yet, because you know that's been, but we're not gonna.
Yeah, we ain't going back to that no matter what that fool say. We ain't sitting in the back of the bus. We ain't getting sprayed by water hoses and stuff like that. So, you know what I mean? Those depictions, you know what I mean? It should be taught in the history books and stuff like that, but we shouldn't dwell on that kind of stuff no more. And it took me a long time to feel that way. Like when Spike Lee said it, I was like, what the hell, Spike? He said it 5-6 years ago. What the hell, Spike Lee talking about no more slave movies? People need to know. But they already know. You know what I mean? We got Netflix,
and it doesn't
every
matter,
streaming service. If you want to see a slave movie, you can see it.
Many times that the current administration tries to whitewash it or to make it go away or to remove symbols of Black empowerment, it is what it is. We're not going nowhere, and neither is our history. We just have to, it's up to us to try to preserve it.
Yeah. But I think if women want, back to that, but I think if women want a woman president, they just going to have to stick together a little bit better.
But Wally, I think we did stick together. I
really don't think we stuck together with Kamala.
No, I think we did. I'm a tad bit of a conspiracy theorist, and
Yeah.
I really feel like we elected her and it was rigged. Like,
No, I don't think it was rigged.
you don't?
I think she lost by a landslide. And
I don't think she lost by a landslide.
Oh yeah, she did. I don't think the numbers. Just like I don't think Donald Trump won the election before and somebody cheated him. I don't think Kamala was cheated either. And I'm gonna tell you, like from a female perspective, why she lost. It's just why it's so tough for a female to become president. And this is why I don't understand why females don't stick together more. Is because the world is against you. You know, not only was she black, you know what I mean, she was a female. She had a double whammy. And she needed the white females to vote for her, which probably was like...
But that flies in the face of why Hillary Clinton didn't get elected.
Yeah, she needed the white females to vote for her too. But you know what I mean? But what goes on behind closed doors is like... I don't even know if women believe that they can run the country. When because, you know, I don't think... I've heard a woman say, I don't think a woman should run the country because we have a period. I'm like, what
does that have to do with
what does that got to do with? That's like once a month you might be cranky one day. You know, 2 days, like, what's that gonna do? You're not gonna get cranky and bomb Russia. You know, I'm on my period, I'm about to bomb Russia. You know, you're not gonna start a world war because you're on your period.
More emotional than the people that are running the country now. Like, I don't understand.
But what he has is that, you know, 82 what the country is 14% black and maybe 7% others or something like that. So what he has, that's 21%. So what he has is 79% of the world is white.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. But okay.
But not just 79% is white.
There is a lot of ignorance. You're right.
Right. But this is the thing. This is the thing for a white president. You know what I'm saying? And this is the thing. And it worked in reverse with Obama. But this is the thing. You win the white man's gonna win the South. You know, maybe you can still, if you're a really good Democrat, maybe you can steal North Carolina. And maybe you can steal Florida. Mm-hmm. That would be your hopes. Because those are 50-50 type places where 40, they're really
states. Yeah.
They're really 51-49 for the Republican. But if you had a previous bad Republican president like George Bush, then Obama can come in.
Okay, based on the current president, was George Bush really that bad? I mean, he was a bad president.
No, George Bush was a bad president. Okay. But he was a cool guy.
He was.
So you liked him. You liked him. You know what I mean? He was funny. You liked him. I would go to dinner with George Bush. I would laugh on the porch with George Bush.
Yeah, he's funny.
You know what I mean? I was find a dap with George Bush. Like, he's a cool person to hang with, but you know, he didn't know what he was doing. But he was a good cool person to hang with. Where you got, you know, a Donald Trump that's going to win the South. So now in order for him to become president, he's got to sweep the South and he's got to win some of those industrial states like Ohio and manufacturing states like Ohio, Michigan, and all those that normally go Democrat because those places are poor. So normally when you're poor, you usually tend to go to Democrats because you get more benefits and less taxes and stuff like that with the Democrats. But Trump was able to let them know, like, hey, you know, we just came off a black president. He didn't do nothing for y'all. You know what I'm saying? You need to vote for us. You know what I mean? We're right along with you. You know what I mean? And he was able to get all of them. So when Biden came in, you know what I'm saying, and won those states back, because of COVID and other stuff, he was not able to do nothing for them. So Trump was able to come in there and play on their heartstrings again. Mm-hmm. Hey, you're still poor. You know what I mean? You're not doing good. Things are bad. Mm-hmm. Come on over. And I just really think, like, it's not all racist. Some of this stuff is economic. You know?
Absolutely. Yes. Now, and so I do know that for a certain segment of the population that, and we're talking about the top 5% of the country, not even the top 1%, the top 5% of the country, right? Mm-hmm. Trump being in office at the beginning was to their benefit. Now, I don't necessarily know how they feel about that now because of the stock market and the tariff back and forth and all that
but
stuff.
they confident he gonna turn it around.
I mean,
yeah.
I looked at my 401k and
It's getting
I mean, I was surprised at the amount of money that was in it.
Yeah. But the first time he was president, he ate up the 401k.
Yeah.
Yeah. He tore the 401k up the first time.
Right.
So he's probably put stuff in position to make sure that doesn't get hit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even when the eggs are high, and that's probably the reason why the eggs are high, and because he's trying to protect everybody's.
Well, the eggs are so. I know we're supposed to be talking about women against women, but let's talk about what's going on right now. I made a post on Facebook. I don't know if you saw it or not. Mm-hmm. But like I said, I have a friend that works for a shipping company. And she is saying that we need to stock up on groceries. And the reason why we need to stock up on groceries is because we're getting ready to have shortages.
Right.
And so that's a direct result of Donald Trump's policies.
Ain't nothing you can do about it now.
I mean, there's nothing you can do about it, but take your ass to the grocery store.
Actually, I got to pray for him now.
Who? We praying for Donald Trump?
Well, he gonna be the president. Might as well pray that he finds some sense. We can't pray against him because we gonna get hurt.
Hurt more than we hurt now?
Shoot, it could get worse. It could get worse.
We're not gonna put that in the universe, but
it could get worse. We could be around. We could be around here in mass now.
Listen,
I do not. I do.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I want to make everybody. I have not changed my stance on Donald Trump. I dislike Donald Trump. If he was able to vote another 4 years, I wouldn't vote for him. But now that he's president, we can't wish nothing bad because when something happens, when he doesn't do well, but if he doesn't do well, we don't do well. So we gotta wish that somebody could get in his ear.
Well now.
I know, but we need to pray that somebody could get in his ear and turn this thing around like he can see.
He doesn't listen to anybody.
I know, but I'm just saying that's why we gotta pray. We need all the prayers that we can get. That maybe he'll listen to somebody and then say, "Hey."
You know when he's gonna listen?
What?
Well,
he cares about his legacy, and he knows this is his last run at politics.
He doesn't think that it's going to be his last run.
Oh, it's going to be his last run.
He's selling Trump 2028. It's on his website.
But he can't change the Constitution. So
why he can't? He's already defying the Supreme Court.
But he can't change the Constitution.
Why can't he? He's doing everything else that he wants to do.
You can't change that law that you can run again. Nobody's gonna switch that around. Even the Republicans don't want anybody to stay in office forever. You know what I mean? They're not gonna do that. So this is his last 4 years. So at the end of the 4 years, I'm just hoping and praying that he gets some sense so that the country don't go down. Because the way he running right now, messing with China again, you already fought that battle and lost. You know what I mean? So you don't need to go back to that. You know what I mean? So, running all the Mexicans out the country, you know what I'm saying? And things aren't getting done.
Okay. He's not only running Mexicans out of the country, but he's running American citizens out of the country too and having them housed in El Salvador for a fee, for money. But we praying for him?
I'm not praying for him. I'm praying for the fact that I'm hoping that he would change his ways.
Let's pray that when you go to Food Lion, that they still got sardines on the shelf and some grits for you to be able to feed your child.
I don't think it's that bad.
It's not that bad yet.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's just right here. Is that it may get bad, and then you just realize, hey, I'm gonna go down in history as the worst president ever if I don't change this. And then maybe something will click in his light bulb. He does care about his legacy now. You can tell he's always bragging about, I was the best president. I did this, I did that, and I did this, I did that.
He's in Delulu.
No.
He's living in.
Yeah, I just think that, these people, we got to pray for them. I think if we root against them, it gets worse. Like if we start protesting and all this kind of stuff, I think it's just
protests are happening now.
No, I know. Like we're all up there. I just think that makes him think, oh, you know what I mean? These people don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're talking about. Make it worse for us.
He think they pep rallies for him?
No, I'm just saying, like the people that are doing all this protesting about eggs and all that kind of stuff or whatever. I think that they should do instead of putting their energy towards that, they need to be at the legislature. Especially in the South where you got mostly Republicans, people that can get in his ear because contrary to belief, he don't run the country. The Senate runs the country, and the Senate is more Republicans than they are Democrat. So if you got enough of your constituents saying that, hey, we're not going to elect you next time because these eggs are high and this is high, they can get in Donald Trump's ear. They've already made him stop other stuff that he's already tried to do. They've already, so the thing ain't on the street when you're dealing with a president. The thing ain't on the street with a picket sign. You know that helps with civil rights and this and that. But you need to be in your legislature. You need to be in these, like when everybody was having a problem with Leon Lott around here. The thing to get the Leon Lott is not standing outside the county jail. You know what I'm saying, with a picket sign. The thing is to get to who runs his shit, the senator. You know what I mean? Like, you need to get to the senators and stuff like that, the people that are helping him get elected. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to get to them, and then they pay. I got the whole 29205 saying that if you don't get these parts back open, you know what I'm saying, they ain't gonna vote for me, and I can't have that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody answer to somebody. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel
Who
like
is Donald Trump answering to?
Donald Trump, believe it or not, if the Senate tell him to shut some of this dumb shit down, they will do it. But they're scared of him.
So you can't. So you're trying to tell me that you believe that there hasn't been any backdoor meetings with him saying, "Hey, time out, coach. Like you really need to."
It has, but it's not enough. I think once you know what I mean. They really, 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 I think it may have to get worse. And then once it get worse, then, you know what I'm saying, they roll up on, he just gave, a bunch of tax breaks. You know what I'm saying? So people are saying, oh, you can't buy eggs, but we put an extra $5,000 in your taxes this year. What you complaining about? So, you know what I mean? If they didn't take, if it wasn't that tax break and people didn't get any tax money, the economy, people weren't buying shit. Like, we just coming out for tax time, people buying stuff. So you can't tell what the economy.
But that tax money is not gonna last forever, though.
It's not. But what I'm saying is that we're not at a point right now where people aren't spending money. As soon as they start spending money and can't afford stuff, these people will go to him like, bro. I got to get elected in 2 years. I got to get elected in 3 years. You know what I mean? You need to do it this way. And if you don't do it this way, the next laws that you try to put in here, we won't vote for them. That's where that works at. The country ain't as bad as, the country's bad, but the country ain't as bad as you think it is right now in order for people to go there and say, hey, we need to get this shit done. You know what I'm saying? They're still like, okay, let's just wait on him. Wait on him. Yeah, he's fucking up, but let's just wait on him. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't want to step on his toes and then he turns shit around and then he say, hey, don't vote for the Republican Senator for Tennessee. He didn't support me. This other young cat that's coming up did support me. I'm going to say this cat is the one that should be the senator, the senator, the governor of Tennessee. And then now this person's out. So you don't want to jump too quick off the Donald Trump bandwagon because you don't know if he could turn it around. So they sitting back watching. And they saw this tax. Okay, the economy's getting a little bit better because we're coming off of tax time. People spending money. Bonuses usually come off like in January, February. At the larger companies and banks and stuff, they start receiving bonuses in February. People are spending money right now. Now, when we get to the summer, then you can kind of get a grip of what's going on, and maybe by that time when January come around next year, if the country ain't where people want them to be, where they think they're gonna get elected, then they'll straighten them out. He don't run the country.
Well, so right now he is completely underwater in the polls, and we're not talking about left-leaning polls or right-leaning polls. We're not we're not talking about that.
But
We're
it
talking
depends
about
on what pole you're looking at. They got so
all the
many poles.
He's underwater.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't know how in the hell we got from.
No, I don't know.
Talk about.
But we got to end it up.
We do.
Yeah.
So, we didn't get anything resolved about why women don't like each other.
And that's probably never going to be resolved.
And it's probably never going to be resolved. All
that's
I can,
cool.
all
At least
I
we got
can
some
say
good content.
as we did.
Yeah.
All I can say as a black woman, I'm a girl's girl, and I'm always going to find something about my sisters, or even not my sisters. I'm a woman before I'm anything else, and I'm always going to find something positive to say about another woman, because that's just who I am. And it took me a lot of maturity and growth to get here, but I'm here, and I would really wish that women could come together.
All right.
I know it's not going to happen, but
yep.
But whatever. So
anyway, that's another episode.
That's another episode of Real Talk with King and Sharif. We thank you for your time and attention, and we'll see you on our next episode.
All right.
We out. Peace.